The Pod Show by Beat Fact Music. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Go and hit Beat Fact Music. BEATFAKMUSIC. Hit that subscribe button. Also, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check it out. Now let's get to the show. What's going on, everybody? It's been a minute. July 4th was my last show. We're now on July 18th, Friday, July 18th. So it's been 14 days, almost pretty much 2 weeks since my last show. Feels like a couple of months since I've done the show, but now there's so much stuff going on. NFL's picking up as training camp is about to happen in less than 14 days. So, and then NBA free agency, there's still a lot of free agents out there looking for a team. So it's very intriguing. So before I get to that, I got to talk about this before I start with all the news going on in the NFL, NBA, and all the other stuff that I want to discuss for today's quick take. I saw something on Twitter that was very intriguing. And why I say it's intriguing, because it felt like the world is going backwards. Now, there's this social media influencer. His name is Ashton Hall. I know most of you have seen him. Even if you don't know his name, you know who this guy is. This guy is always running and taking videos as he's running, whether he's got a dog with him or he's trying to run against a truck or a horse. And, of course, everybody knows about his epic races versus Speed, another social media influencer, and Speed was successful in all the races. They were actually close, but still, Speed won. Ashton Hall is not a runner. His build does not have him in that running thing. Like, if you look at his build, he's not a runner. There's a lot of guys that would cook him. But nevertheless, he came online and celebrated that he had 18 million followers. And I was just like, this is off, man. I mean, I'm not going against this guy's work as a black man. I feel like he has something there. Now, he's got to find it. He's the one that's got to find it. He's got to discover it. Social media is not for him. And why I say that is because the fact that you're celebrating followers answers all my questions. That's your purpose. That's not purpose. That's begging. That's desperation. That's all the negative things. He's a young man who's too talented to be celebrating followers. What he should be celebrating is good health, peace, prosperity. Those are the things and that goes for all the influencers, all the podcasters, all the people out there. Mental health, peace, and prosperity. Those three things, you got those things taken care of, you're going to be doing great things with your life, no matter who likes you or not. If you don't have those things put together and you want to go out and celebrate followers and hope that you get 1,000 likes on a photo, you're going to be in trouble in a few years. So I just hope that this guy figures it out, realizes that he has a purpose, and goes after that purpose. And he could do great things. You know, a lot of people will make fun of him. Of course they have, but I'm not here to make fun of the brother. I'm here to shed some light on what he can do to be great. So Ashton Hall, man, and I'm sure this podcast is going to circulate, which has been doing, and shout out to everybody that's been doing it. You got a purpose, young man, and that goes for everybody. Don't be on social media looking for followers, man. Look for purpose. Look for a goal. Create something for you to do some great things. Like I said, mental health, peace, and prosperity. With all those things, you'll get happiness. All that, you blend all that together, you're going to get happiness. You're going to be like, wow, this is amazing. So that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, he's got a lot of things going on. And when I saw that video on Twitter, I was like, what? Bro, don't celebrate that. Celebrate mental health. Celebrate peace. Celebrate prosperity, and you'll be fine. But anyways, a lot of news I'm going to be going back and forth and commenting on. First thing I'm going to talk about is, after Phoenix was able to get rid of trade Durant to get Jalen Green and of course Devin Booker and a ton of second round picks, the Suns decided to give Devin Booker a 2-year, $45 million extension, which is rounds out to about 71 mil a year. It's a good deal. I know a lot of people slammed them for it after, all the stuff that's happened, with the Durant and, of course, the Bradley Beal things just not working out the way they are and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it worked out. It worked out for everybody. And, Phoenix is making their moves and doing what they need to do. And that's all that matters. Like, I just feel like it's a good deal. If things don't go well before the extension, expires, they could trade him. It's a lot of these teams now are making deals for the Bucks. They don't want to pay luxury tax. Phoenix has new ownership. Dallas has new ownership. The Raptors are going to have new ownership by the beginning of 2026. Dallas has new ownership. Boston has new ownership. So let me just run this down so I get this right. Phoenix, Dallas, the Raptors, Boston, and who did I just forget? See, I'm just forgetting already. The Lakers. The Lakers on top of that got new ownership. So let me do this one more time so I get this right. I want to get this right. We don't do retakes. This is edited stuff. So Toronto, Dallas, Phoenix, LA, Boston all have new ownership. And what all of them are doing in their own way, they're cleaning house. You saw what Toronto did. They got rid of Masai Ujiri. There's a lot of backstory behind that. Of course, Rodgers taking over. Rodgers historically known to be a little bit of a backstabber. No, they are backstabbers. Knowing to be cheap, knowing to lowball people, and knowing to be a control freak. And that's Ted Rodgers the third, the fourth, whatever the hell his name is. He's not a very likable person. So Dallas, on the other hand, they got new ownership. They got rid of Luka. A lot of the story, as many people know already, was, hey, he wasn't, mentally there, wasn't all kinds of stuff. But I already discussed that in the previous podcast. Boston doing what they did with Drew Holiday, Porzingis, and other pieces. Phoenix, we all know, I just talked about that. And, of course, who did I just forget? Well, I just mentioned Toronto. I mentioned Phoenix. I mentioned Boston. I just it's hard to keep up, but keeping the memory, I gotta keep that memory sharp. But yeah, nevertheless, all this free agent transactions and all these cost-cutting moves is a part of these new ownerships walking in and saying, hey, we don't want these guys. And it's totally understandable. This is what the new NBA is. And nobody wants to pay luxury tax, especially depending on what state you're in. Like Toronto, can you imagine paying the luxury tax in Toronto? Can you imagine paying the luxury tax in Los Angeles? Dallas is cheap. I don't know about taxes in Phoenix and Boston. I don't know about those taxes in those places, but I know Toronto, and I know LA from friends who've been out there. It ain't cheap. So yeah, totally understandable. Now with the Lakers situation with free agency, LeBron signing the 1 year, $52 million and doing his own thing. Hey man, shout out to LeBron. Take care of the bag. take care of your stability for the 1 year. If they want to do something with you, you're good. You're still going to get paid. So Devin Booker signing that 2-year deal. I think it's a smart deal for Phoenix. They still need they still got to keep their franchise player. Jalen Green is definitely not going to be their franchise player. He doesn't bring the necessary work ethic and tools to be that guy. And I know some people, hey, you're insulting him and you're not giving him a chance. No. I've seen this with young talent a lot more now than before. They don't come in equipped to want that spot. They just want to be in the NBA. They want to show off. They want to show off their internet girlfriends. Some of them, not all of them. They don't put in the work in the summer. And then they get mad when you call them out. That's why most of these guys, you see, if you go look at the last 3 or 4 draft boards and you're like, what the hell happened to this guy? What the hell happened to this guy? They don't put in the work. There's only a few LeBrons and KDs and Lucas and Anthony Davises, and there's only a few of those special players. When they come to the court, game is on. They know what they're doing. Steph Curry. Come on, man. So Devin Booker is going to be the guy in Phoenix. That is a done deal. There's no question about it. He will be the guy in Phoenix for the next 3 years because the deal expires in 29-30. So he's going to be the guy. So once this old extension happens, he's going to be there for another 2 years after that, and then the rest is going to be history. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I say for Phoenix, like I said, I like the deal. So, I love it. So, I mean, the cap hit is deadly, but whatever, you know what I mean? So, it is what it is. So, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, what's going on? But it's a good deal, and like I said, he just signed the contract extension, and I'm looking at it from an actual perspective. It's an interesting deal, but hey, it's a good deal. So and the deal doesn't happen until 2 years from now. He's still making $53 million, 57, and then the deal doesn't kick in until, let me check here, 2028, 2029. So he's going to be there for another at least 5 years. He's not an unrestricted free agent until 2030, 2031, which he'll be 34 years old. So he's got 4 more years there. I think he's going to establish himself as the guy, and he is the guy. He was the guy technically before they made all these trades to bring in KD and of course, Bradley Beal. So I feel like he's going to be the guy for the next few years. He's going to do his thing, and hopefully he can help Jalen Green. Because if he can't help Jalen Green, it's a wrap for him. And Dillon Brooks got to behave, otherwise he'll be playing in Shanghai or the Philippines or Puerto Rico or something. I'm just calling it as I see it. Another deal I want to talk about here on the show, I want to talk about Bradley Beal, because I like Bradley Beal. I think he's one of the quiet guys in this game that is exceptionally a good player. He averaged 17, 3 rebounds, almost 4 assists last year. He was 50% from the field, 49.7. So legitimately, he has some great value. I know some people want to, shit on him, and that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't like the fact he's only been playing a couple of 53 games the last few years, but the game of basketball has changed. A lot of guys don't practice as much. I've been told that from actual NBA sources, that a lot of these guys are not practicing. They're not putting the work into the gym, etc., etc. I'm not saying he's one of the guys, but he's also been hurt. And He needs to reinvent himself to let people know he's still here, because guys like him at 32, I mean, you got to look at it. Michael Beasley is 32 and he's not even in the league anymore. And he's probably one of the most talented players in my eyes that I've seen in the last 10, 15 years, besides LeBron and a few other guys. Like, I could put Michael Beasley in one of the most talented player groups in basketball in the last 15 years. But because of other factors and certain other things, he's not playing in the NBA. And that part I understand also. So I can't sit here. But as Michael Beasley, the basketball player, I could watch that guy anytime. He's a basketball player. But him and Bradley Beal are the same age, and it's just one of those things. And I feel with Bradley Beal, Phoenix never really embraced him. They kind of they brought him in, they expected things for him to happen right away. And once Phoenix didn't get that value from him, and the new management's like, oh, no. They got rid of him. I mean, he signed a 2-year deal with the Clippers, worth $11 million. Not really anything. He's got Kawhi on his side. He's got James. Kawhi, I don't know. He might give you 50 games, maybe. James is going to play 70 plus, which is classic James. James is going to do his thing. I just feel like Bradley Beal could be a help, but he's got to play. He's got to give the games. Give me 65 to 70, Bradley. Get them in a good position in the playoffs, and the rest is history. He was 40% from the three-point line. Right? He's playing on a minimum salary. I don't think the money is a problem for him, because for the next, 4 or 5 years, the Clippers are going to be paying him, 90, not the Clippers. The Suns are going to be paying like $97 million. He gave back 13.9. He still got 97 within the next 4 to 5 years. They're going to be paying him that. So he's got money sitting there. I don't think this is about money anymore. I think this is basketball. I think the realization at 32 is there, and he's gonna play basketball, and I know he's gonna do great things with the Clippers. I'm cheering for Bradley Beal. I don't like the fact he didn't play a lot with Phoenix. I know injuries have been, but when you pass 30, bro, you gotta put the work in. The extra reps are going to make a difference. This is not talking from basketball. This is period. If you want to get something done, especially physically in terms of trades, you get older, you got to put the extra reps in, guys. You go in the gym, you got to put the extra reps in. Don't kill yourself. Be smart with your weights. Be smart with your reps. But put the extra work in. You'll see what the results look like. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be marveled. So Bradley Beal, just come out to play. Put the extra reps in. And the rest is history. Something else that I thought was interesting. Golden State Warriors have not made any moves this offseason, which I find is interesting. They have made no moves. I was looking at the moves thing and I was like, wait a minute, these guys didn't make no moves at all. But you know what? At the end of the day, I understand why with the luxury tax and the salary cap, and it's understandable. All they did was they have a summer league team. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Mike Dunleavy Jr. is still the general manager. And that's about it. So, the only deal that they made was a draft deal. That's all they made. They didn't do any. This is all draft deals. They didn't make any other moves. They made no moves. The departures are Kevon Louis and Jamal Mazik. I don't even know who this guy is. They made no moves. Nothing. I don't even count. They had a couple draft day moves, but they made no moves. So they're basically going into the 2025-26 season with the same team they had last year that, was able to outsmart a young Houston team, but then ran into a buzzsaw and they got sent home. So I think it was Minnesota, if I'm correct. Yeah, it was Minnesota. And so it's going to be interesting how Golden State's season comes out of this. But you know what? As crafty as they are, I never go against wise wisdom. Sorry, wisdom, and I don't go against that. It's just something that I believe always works, especially in sports. Because a lot of young players now are not willing to learn. They're not willing to wise up. They're not willing to progressively advance themselves. It's not a bad thing, because when you're young, let me say this, when you're young, you're going to do young man things. And what are young man things? If you haven't been able to express, I can't tell you. I just can't help you. We've all gone through the young man experience. Just like I say with Jalen Green, they say I'm hard on him, but once you're in the NBA, you got to be ready. There is no pass. There's no pacifiers and diapers and arrowroot cookies and gerbil bottles and lunch boxes and drinking boxes when you play in the NBA. This is a grown man's league. So whether you want to play at 19 or 21 or 23, you got to learn that you're going to have to cut the bullshit out. And when I say the bullshit out, the little bit of antics, the social media crap, and get serious. And another thing I'm going to say this too, teams are trading players based on their personal life. And I said this, and this has come from another source from the league that's been around in the league as a scout, other areas. They will trade you based on your personal life. If your personal life is a mess or you got some behaviors going on, they're going to get rid of you. They're going to trade you. So for all the young players that are going into the league or want to play pro sports anywhere, be on your best behavior. You want that check or you want to win? Winning will give you the money. But let me stop going off about that, because I just feel like, for me, that's been watching the young talent live and in person where I'm at and seeing it in sports all over. It's like, where is that grit? I can rant about this all podcast. I can make this a 1 hour podcast, and I'm not doing 1 hour podcast. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things. So like I said, with the comments I made earlier, also before I go, WNBA All-Star Weekend, man. Hey, man. Ladies, go out and show your stuff. Do your stuff. We know how WNBA has been, targeted for, it's women, but it's growing, and there's a huge following, and I love to see what's going on, and I'm more interested in just watching the WNBA as it continues to advance themselves. They gotta have the right focus, and they gotta put their minds into the right direction. When I say that, like, focus on the right subjects, right issues, because there's been a lot of, like, we all know about the Angel Reese situation. If you haven't been paying attention, how she's been rudely and just ridiculously disrespected by a certain individual. I'm not going to call his name because I don't think he deserves that on my show. But yeah, like, we got to respect, especially our black women. I'm sorry, guys. I know all races and genders are listening to this show, but we don't protect our black women enough. We praise people. We don't do that enough. Angel Reese has been absolutely disrespected. And I've seen it. I've seen the comments on Twitter. Like, why? We got to protect our women, man. We got to protect our women. Our moms, our wives, our girlfriends, our daughters, our sisters. Got to protect them. Like, we got to do a better job. And you all know who I'm talking about. We got to do a better job. You can't be raising people and then just, no, we can't do that. So let me just, like, cool off on that, because that's another subject. I saw some of the comments about Angel Reese, and I was just absolutely mortified. Like, what kind of sickness are these people going through? Or what type of drugs are they taking? You know what I mean? So it's like that. So I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's like, yo, like, let's just knock it off here. You know what I mean? Like, we could do so much better as a society to show respect as human beings. We could do so much better. Like, I'm sorry, but today is just one of those shows. So now let me get to some NFL. Before I close off this show, I'm going to do some NFL. I'm getting close to 30 minutes. This is a long one, folks. This is a long one. Oh, man. Anyways, some NFL time. Let me give the NFL some love. You know, it's coming. By the way, folks, Pick 6 Season 2 is coming up in September, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't listened to the show, you know the deal already, but I won't get into that. But yeah, Pick 6 Season 2, it's coming. But yes. So, first news, TJ Watt signs a $123 million deal for 3 years with Pittsburgh. About $41 million a year. I think he gets $108 million guaranteed. He's locked in. Hey, that's the market. That's the market, folks. I don't care what anybody says. That's the market. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. That's the market today. So, you know, it's the market. So I'm sure TJ is going to do what he's doing. He's going to continue to play out. Pittsburgh's made a bunch of acquisitions. They picked up DK Metcalf. They traded away, of course, Micah Fitzpatrick and of course, the part-time George Pickens. You know, they picked up Jalen Ramsey on top of that. They picked up a few guys. They also got Darius Slay, too. They got a veteran piece. They picked up some pieces in the offseason. Now, my thing, and of course, Aaron Rodgers. We can't forget part-time Aaron Rodgers. He got picked up. So it's going to be interesting how that works. It could work. Mike Tomlin's got a tough job. And the thing is with Coach Tomlin is I'm sure he was not in on all these moves. I'm sure he was told about this respectfully, but I don't think he was on these moves. And I think the decisions would be a lot different if he was allowed to put some input in. And I'm going to say this too. If this doesn't work, I just have a gut feeling they're going to fire this guy. I just truly believe it. I know how what the type of firings that have happened in the last few years in sports. This could be something different. So, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. And that's about it. Pittsburgh, will see where that goes. I don't think they're going to win that division. I think Baltimore is going to do what they do. Cleveland, that's up in the air, of course. More so like the Jets. I'm going to get to them soon. Cincinnati, they got no defense. They're going to give up 40 points a game. They might score 40, so that's a waste of time. And of course, you know, so right now, Baltimore is the favorite to win that division, but stranger things have happened. Jauan Jennings, another day in San Francisco. That coach. Boy. Regular season 2024, he had 77 receptions for 975, 6 touchdowns, averaged 12 yards a catch. Should have been given the ball a lot more in the Super Bowl. I kept saying it. I said it on Twitter. Jauan Jennings needs the ball. Don't give it to Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuels. That's not the guy. Every time that guy touched the ball in the Super Bowl, Jauan Jennings, he made strides. That coach in San Francisco is an absolute... whatever. Anyways, he wants a new contract. And you know what? He deserves it. They got rid of Deebo. Not going to miss a beat. Brandon Ayuk got his money. Did absolutely nothing. They can trade him. Get Jauan Jennings his money. And Let the chips roll with that. That's about it. I'm cheering for Jauan Jennings. Give him his money. Let him roll. Because he was the guy in the Super Bowl. And I'm telling you, I watched that Super Bowl. And he was the difference maker. So now let's get to the Jets. Let me close off the show with the Jets. So, the New York Jets. Johnson & Johnson. Mr. Johnson & Johnson decides to throw some money out. Now, Sauce Gardner gets 4/120. Garrett Wilson, 4 years, 130. Of course, they picked up Justin Fields in the offseason. I'm cheering for this kid. I know this kid could ball. I watched him on a show, TV show years back when he was playing high school football. He has the talent. He has the tools. Went to Ohio State. We know what happened in Chicago. Chicago's another one of those teams that doesn't know what they're doing with their quarterbacks, just like the Jets. Now he's with the Jets. Aaron Glenn is taking over as the head coach. Let's see if what could happen. They still ain't winning that division. Buffalo's winning that division. I've been saying it over and over again. I'm going to say it again like I have the last 3 years plus. Buffalo is going to win that division. Let me tell you something. Signing these big contracts and deals, it's a ooh-ah moment for free agency in the NFL. It's a ooh-ah moment. Everybody's like, oh, now they got their money. And I hate when I hear people say, oh, you got your money, now he's going to work. That doesn't look good. You should be working regardless. Sitting out, I don't understand it, but I respect it because there's reasons for it that we don't know about. But these two guys, you got your wide receiver, your top wide getting his contract, his 4 years, and you got your top DB getting his money. But you know what the interesting thing about all these contracts in the NFL? Yes, the bonuses are pretty substantially high. They could release you tomorrow morning. They could cheat those books and get rid of you. So this is the NFL. But at the same time, I'm glad that Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner got their money. They should. And I hope Jauan Jennings gets his money. So this is just one of those things where the NFL knows how to keep you focused on them. They know how to do it. There's so much stuff that has happened in the NFL in the past 3-4 days. It's crazy. Like you gotta follow Adam Schefter. And if you don't have Twitter, I know some of you are Facebook guys and Facebook women and whatever. Ugh. Facebook to me is a comment show, but if you listen to Adam Schefter on Twitter, my gosh, this guy is just he's I don't know. His wife really loves him. I swear, for this guy to constantly be on Twitter sending information one after the other, and he's not it's just BS. It's consistent. This guy is consistent with his stuff. It's crazy. So, it's one of those things where it's oh, okay, he's doing this thing. But Adam Schefter is just absolutely on point with what he does. And you got to give him praises for what he does. But yeah, there's been so much stuff going on. It's unbelievable with football. And I'm not going to break it down. I'm not going to go through all of it. But yeah, if you guys have any form of social media, well, actually, you got your phones. Take your phone, click. You'll see all the stuff that's going on. So it's going to be good. Like I said what I had to say, and that's it for Quick Take. Unfortunately, this has been a long Quick Take, based on the fact that I've been gone for 2 weeks. I haven't really talked about too much because I've just kind of sit in the back. But like I said, everything that I've talked about with the two signings the signings with in the NFL, the signings in the NBA, the trades, the contract buyouts, all that stuff. It's going to be an interesting year, so it's going to be interesting. Like I said, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, they got to get ready. They got to be ready. Got to be ready. If they're ready, they'll be good. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, they'll be ready. They will be ready. They got a coach. They got to be ready. So just like I'm ready tonight, because obviously I've been going on for almost 35 minutes on this show. But folks, as I always say, thanks for listening. For those who have been regular listeners, you got comments or whatever, please pass them through to all the listeners that have been regular listeners of this podcast. Big respect and appreciation. I think this is probably one of my longest podcasts since I've started. But of course, I had a lot to say since I've been out for 2 weeks. But yes, folks, as I always say to conclude this show, wherever you are in the world right now, good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, and good night. I'm out.